right, welcome everybody to the big show. We are now live. This is show number 6. Is that right, Stu?
It is indeed.
Right. This is the Creation Wars, and in case you haven't heard of this show, this is a very kind of unique photo competition, and has a little bit of a twist, which you'll see soon. We get on about 4 masters every week from the Arcanum, and the masters come on representing a champion, one of their 20 apprentices that's inside their cohorts. Each of them have various apprentices that level up from level 1 to level 20, and then they'll go into Sphere 2, level 30, Sphere 4, level 40, and beyond. We're actually just about to be announcing these things in the next week or so. It's pretty exciting. So they're going to be coming in and showing off the work of their apprentices in this amazing competition. We've been doing it for 6 weeks. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. And it's honestly one of the funnest times of my week, just a chance to hang out with all these photographers and geek out and look at photos and do critiques. It's really amazing. So we'll get started, and we'll go around and do our little introductions. And we just show what we're drinking if we happen to be drinking something. Tonight, I always feature a different New Zealand wine every week. This is the main divide. Pretty much the same one I had last week, but this is the 2011. Okay, it's a little bit better vintage. We'll see during the show exactly how good it is. And since Gino, my normal co-host, right-hand man, is not here, Stu, you're kind of jumping in for that job. Right, Stu?
I am, yes. Absolutely. I will do my best to be all that Gino is.
or all that Gino is not.
Yes.
Yeah. Good to have goals. So, Stu, go ahead and when people introduce themselves, by the way, you can give us your website. If you have any workshops coming up, you can say whatever. Okay, so go for it, Stu.
Okay, do you want me to introduce myself or get other people to do it? Okay,
yes.
Myself. Cool. I'm Stuart, and Stu. I am responsible for editing the show together after the fact and providing everyone with high-res images, generally keeping things going as best I can, and websites over my shoulder. Hey, Mason. And I'm one of the heroes of the Arcanum, so looking after a bit of grad library stuff, newsletter, the new e-magazine that we have in the works, and level 19 currently in Sphere 1.
And he's
level
a
19.
Hero.
Yes.
True hero.
All right.
You've got to
You're about to join the elite and super secret level 20 lounge. You don't know what happens in there.
Well, I'm hanging on to level 19, just sitting there waiting, poised and ready.
No, you need to come through, because in the level 20 lounge, there's a pole that comes out of the Learjet, and things get crazy in there. You're gonna love it. Oh, it looks like we have been joined by Mason Marsh. Hello, Mason. You're muted. Over.
Great.
Talking at the end of mealtime, I'm here with the kids, and I had just enough time to run and grab a silly hat.
I'm so glad. You're just so game, Mason. My gosh, it's perfect.
And so Cooper's going to find his silly hat, and so as soon as he gets his, he'll join us too to fill in for Gino.
All right, very cool. Yes, this is a special Christmas hat edition of the Creation Wars.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't have my
old
Christmas hat.
Wildfire helmet from back in my newspaper days. I'd wear this to cover wildfires. It actually says photographer on the side.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Actually,
I don't have
got a serious cool
but I
factor.
do have a Christmas beer. You'll see here. It's a nice Scottish term. It's Santa's Swally. And, I couldn't resist it when I saw it in the thing, so I expect it to be absolutely horrendous. It's brewed with spices, and as a backup beer, I have at the recommendation of A.D. Wheeler, Hogarten, a massive bottle that dwarfs my head, basically.
That's good stuff.
All right, awesome. Okay, so let's keep going with introductions. Let's start with you, Robin. Robin, you're looking kind of horny today.
Yeah, what did you just say? Hi,
What's
I'm
on your head there?
Or am I Blitzen? No, I am Robin Griggs-Wood, and yeah, I'm I'm always so happy to be here. So I'm very much in celebration mode here. Mason, I just want you to know that I brought my own baby today because that always works so well for you. Yeah.
Well, you've been.
I drink water, guys. Sorry. I have wine if I have spaghetti, and yeah, beer if I have tacos. So there you go.
They are symbiotic. So you win the Christmas tree celebration so far, Robin, back there.
Oh good. Because yeah, I was going for that award.
Well, you got that so far. We'll see if you win the actual competition. I've seen all the photos ahead of time, by the way, so I know we have very strong photos going to tonight's competition. It's going to be
awesome.
Going to be scary.
Exciting.
Okay, so next up is Martin. By the way, the order we're going to go in tonight is the order we'll just keep going, and so it'll be RGW, then Martin, then Gina, then John Arnold. Okay. So anyway, Martin, you are up now.
Yeah, I'm Martin Bailey. I'm sitting here in sunny Tokyo. It's getting cool now, so I'm all wrapped up. I've got my red silly hat. This is an outdoor research Gore-Tex hat that I use in wet places, but because it's red, I was forced to wear it by the rest of the group. I'm looking forward to the chat and the competition today.
All right, very cool. When you unbutton that one side, you do look like a Canadian Mountie.
Yeah.
I can switch.
Wow. It's very versatile.
All right, awesome. Okay, Gina, you are up. First-time competitor, first time to bring a champion on the Creation Wars. So welcome, Gina.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm a little nervous. I hope I can represent my cohort well and make them proud of me tonight. I know they're probably really proud of me just for wearing this crown right now.
It's amazing.
I'm actually in Cleveland, Ohio, visiting family. I live in Paso Robles, California. So if I were at home in Paso right now, I'd be, competing definitely for the best bottle of wine to show, but I'm not. So I'm drinking some coffee and some water and just trying to, keep my wits about me since I'm a first-timer. But also, my background is more in cinematography and video, so I am. I feel like I'm a little bit of an underdog, coming in. You guys have a lot more still photography credit to your names than I do, but it doesn't mean my cohort's any less than great in what they do too. So I'm looking forward to tonight and just getting in there. I'm a little disappointed Gino's not here because I really had some things planned for him. And but I think I'm glad Mason's here. So I know Mason, so I feel a little comfortable. Maybe that took the pressure off me a little bit, so I could just focus on my photo that I'm representing.
Right on. Okay, John Arnold, you are up.
Hey, right. I'm John Arnold. I'm from the northwest of England. I run a website called Photo Walkthrough. And this evening I'll be wearing this fine festive hat.
What do you mean this evening?
It is, currently 10 past 2 in the morning.
No, I mean like you wear that every night, I know.
Oh, it's my nightcap. This is why I'm wearing it. The lovely thing about it is, as I jiggle my head, all these little bells wiggle around in my field of vision. So I will be using this whenever I look at any of the pictures submitted by any of you guys, and I have a better hat for when I'll be looking at my own. So yeah, I am drinking this evening. I decided that I should drink something classy. So I have here a bottle of whatever they gave me when I was last Shiraz Cabernet. Let me just uncork this. There you go. Classy. Now I found the most appropriate wine glass I could. I needed something fairly big. It's red, obviously it needs a bit of room to breathe. So I'll be drinking out of this thing this evening, which is, I don't know if you can see that. It's a Guinness wine glass.
Classy wine glass.
Yeah. So I will be well sozzled by the end of the first picture. Good luck, everyone.
All right, awesome, John. Okay, Tiff. So after you tell us what you do as one of the heroes of the Arcanum here, and you share the hashtags, you'll talk about all the live stuff you'll be doing. I'm right now looking at the overall win-loss records of each of the masters that have joined us. I will be announcing the win-loss records of all these people so that new viewers can have some sort of a concept
that was being done.
of the relative strength of these masters coming into this competition. Because now we're on show 6, they're starting to get a bit of a track record, a bit of an ERA. So I think people want to know this. Okay, go ahead, Tiff.
Okay. Well, now that Trey's told you everything I'm going to say, yeah. No. Yeah, for anybody that hasn't seen me on here before, I'm an apprentice in the awesome Ratcliff's cohort. Just hit level 12 yesterday, woohoo! And I also get to do social media stuff for the Arcanum, and I'm over on Twitter at the moment, and we're using hashtag Creation Wars with the number 6 on the end, or one word, to have a chat about what's going on, and a few of the people have already shared some of their crazy hats, so we're getting right into it over on Twitter, and at some point I think we'll get to do People's Choice, I think, as well, so if people want to join us to cast their vote, they can do that too. And yeah, that's
Very cool.
me.
Yeah, we do People's Choice and a little after party at the end of the show. It's always fun. And typically you share a few images from the audience too, so that's always nice to see. Okay, so here's the win-loss record so far of all the masters that are here. We have Robin Griggs-Wood, who has appeared once, represented a champion, and she has 1 loss, 0 wins. It's RGW. Okay, we have Martin Bailey, who is undefeated on the Creation Wars. He has 1 appearance and 1 win, with an incredible blind photo. Unbelievable. In fact, he's the first ever winner. He was in week 1.
Yes.
He set a good bar for us all. Now, we also have John Arnold here, who has made 1 appearance. He has 0 wins and 1 loss. So he hopes to amend that tonight.
Yes,
and
he
then,
does.
of course, we have Gina, who has 0 appearances, who is also, I guess, technically undefeated. So
I like it. I like it. That's the best way to look at it.
It's best just to leave now, Gina.
Yeah, right? Don't even
Just
don't even
walk
bother
away
getting
while the
involved.
party's still good.
yeah, just drop the mic and head out. Okay.
Yeah. My work
All
is
right,
done here.
So usually after intros, we just kind of just talk about news or what's happening in our cohorts or just things that we think are interesting. Robin, you have something to show, don't you, from one of your apprentices?
You know, ordinarily I'd do some kind of tech thing or whatever, but one of my apprentices just shared this, or she actually sent it to me. This was her level 6 challenge, and I'm going to show you guys the stuff. But basically what I did for their level 6, by the way, this is Ursula Klepper, and she was my champion last time, and I didn't mean to like share her again today, but it just so happened to arrive in the mail today, and I'm like really excited about it.
So
It
Robin,
was
just to
level-
clarify, are you saying that your level 6 challenge is to send you a gift?
There you go.
I'd not thought of that.
You tell me it's not really
Great
clever.
idea.
Yeah.
She was
Okay,
the first one to get it in.
So the level 6 challenge that I'm doing with everybody is they basically get to do an aspect of their dreams. You know, everybody has dreams. Everybody has something they want to get done. They want to get accomplished. They want to have some success or whatever. So they're allowed to take one item from a big, huge dream, or just and just go and go for it and do it. And so she'd always wanted to make a calendar. And I'm going to just show you just really quickly, I think, some images here. And
Robin, sometimes I have dreams, but they're dreams more like I'm going to high school and I'm still in my underwear. Is this?
yeah, I
what-
know that one too.
Is this what you
I know
mean?
that one too. It's nice that you're making up for Gino there, Trey. Anyway, so this is her calendar. And basically, she had shot these images of all these coffee mills. And this isn't just a self-publish, by the way. She had to actually, sort of like ask the company, and they have to look it over and decide whether it's quality enough. And so the fact that it was accepted is really, really good. But one of the things that I loved about this is that she basically just had the opportunity to shoot them very, very quickly at her in-laws' house, and then she composited in these backgrounds in them that are like, she stuck windows in and brick walls, and she put coffee beans in the background. It's really, really, really incredible. So anyway, that is, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I was hoping it'd be
level 6, guys.
I was kind of hoping it'd be like a fireman's half nudie calendar, and we'd see Mason Marsh as October.
Yeah.
But no such luck, Mason. We might see a live show here. Okay.
I think he's
look,
leaving.
he scared him away.
He's leaving. He's
Yeah.
running.
He's muted, I think, because his kids are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could mute you guys sometimes, but no, I've got some tired kids, so I'm going to draw them a bath. So I will be muted. But did you want me to throw in some pithy, smart-ass comments like Gino does, or
Yeah,
That's why we invited you, Mason.
no? Okay. Well,
Okay, well, I don't feel like you should leave your kids alone in the bathtub while you're making witty repartee with us. But I mean, maybe if you leave them a hairdryer to dry their hair while they're in the hot tub, it's your decision. As dad.
Cooper's going to be wearing a shirt for me in there, so he'll be okay, right?
Okay.
Right.
So I'll be right back.
Okay, right on. Okay, and there's a bit of Nikon news, Stu, correct?
Yeah, so I was surfing Petapixel earlier, and I'll just share my screen just now because there was something interesting that caught my eye, and hopefully you can see my browser. Is that showing for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the new D750, which looks really good actually. A bunch of people seem to be having an issue with it with strange lens flares. So this isn't an issue if you use the lens hood, because that obviously removes the issue of flares. But for people who like to shoot into the sun and play around with lens flares, it's causing a bit of a problem. And it seems to be to do with the autofocus components within the camera. And on some of the manufacturing runs, it's sticking out a little bit into the area where it shouldn't be, and so that's casting a shadow across the lens, and you can see, or across the sensor even, so you can see on the image there at the top of this story that there's that very hard line across the top of the flare there. So it'd be interesting to see what Nikon do with that. And as I say, if you're not using lens flares and you're using your hood, it's fine. But a lot of people, especially wedding photographers trying to go for effects and things like that, might try something a little bit different, and they're going to run into some real issues there. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Nikon deal with that.
I love that one where it's right over the wedding picture. It's right over the man's face, the groom's face.
Well, I mean, honestly, Robin, that photo is so bad that might help the photo.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Yeah, that's what's surprising to me, is how bad the photos are they're showing off.
Yeah, so they had the issues with the oil spots on the previous cameras as well. So this is just the latest in a line of things, which is a shame because obviously this looks like quite a decent camera. Other than if you're one of these unlucky people who gets this issue.
I wanted to show people this, Stu. This is pretty cool. This is Snapsort. This is where I go all the time, and I have a feeling like half of photographers know about this site and half don't. By the way, Snapsort is not an official sponsor of the Creation Wars or the Arcanum, but it's so awesome to look at the difference between cameras. Okay, like this is the D750 versus the D810, which is the closest comparable camera, and this one is the winner. And then you kind of see this little analysis here of why they think it's stronger. And then you scroll down, and it says, like, these are the advantages of the D750. It has a flip-out screen, which gets it a few points. It shoots faster, 6.5 frames per second versus 5 frames per second. Then over here it says, by the way, if you didn't know, that's 30% faster. It shows, like, the ISO comparison. It shows that it's smaller, 20% smaller, 10% lighter. So it's super smart the way it does this kind of stuff. And it's actually, for some reason, kind of like the default Google search. So like if I do, let's do this, Nikon D750 versus Sony A7II. I guess that's how you say it, isn't it? A7II. Oh man, I was just going to show you. It's the #1 result, but now it's not. Maybe if I do A7... Let's do A7R. This Snapsort should come out #1. There we go. So let's see which one they like more. What? The Nikon.
Whoa.
This site sucks. This site, I was just showing it off.
Robbed.
What the what? Oh, they put a lot of points in battery life. What the what?
It's amazing.
Well,
what
that's
marketing
just giving
dollars
you
can do for
giving you credibility, Trey. That yes, you definitely aren't being supported by.
Yeah.
We're not supporting that site. So that's
Right.
And it
All
shows
right.
like what a handicap you're shooting under too, Trey. You know?
Right.
to be able to produce the images that you do with that kind of handicap, I mean, really.
Yeah. Do not go to Snapsort. Go to Traysort. Okay, because I'm going to show you the difference. Look at this thing. It's so ridiculously big. Look at that. That's the D800, and here's the A7. This is actually the A7 II. It is a superior camera, no matter what Snapsort says. I know what I'm talking about. Mine is too short. Stupid Snapsort.
But Trey, if we're going to talk about size, shouldn't we just bring the iPhone into it? Talking size.
Good point.
Okay, if we're going to start comparing size, people,
Oh.
and this is not a replacement for something else that someone might raise.
That's your new Christmas present, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Trey, have you tried the image stabilization on the A7 II with the Leica lenses? Is that something you've tried yet, or have you not had the chance?
Yes, I tried it yesterday, in fact. I went out on a little 10-hour jaunt around the South Island of New Zealand and took about 1,000 photos with it. You can definitely tell, because if any of you guys have ever used IS lenses, you know that when you press halfway down on the shutter, everything just gets still, like you're a sniper in Call of Duty. So it definitely has that effect, and it feels great. So it seems to work just fine. Yeah.
How does it feel apart from that? Is it better than the A7R, or do you feel it's better?
It feels exactly the same. I mean, the grip is different. It's got a little bit more of a barrel-y thing right here, so that when you grab it, it feels a little bit more like a DSLR, I guess. But the other one didn't bother me. I never really thought about it. But yeah, it's really well engineered. It's weatherproof. Speaking of straps, I know one of you guys is going to show a strap tonight. Let me show this one first. Also, not an official sponsor of the show. This is from Peak Design, and this is called the Slide. It's super awesome. It's got a really easy to use bracket system right here, or a little clasp system right here, so you can adjust it. It slides around your body really easily. It's nice because one side is smooth and the other side is all grippy, so you can put it kind of on one shoulder if you wanted to. It's super easy to release. It has this kind of quick release system. I gotta use my body here to show how easy it is, because normally it's hanging. But you can just clip it out like that, and it pops out. Super simple. And man, it's my favorite strap. I have a few of them. I have them on all my cameras.
I'm so glad to see that finally. I'm so glad to see that finally, because I was looking at one of those, drooling over it, and thinking, wow, that's just like it was perfect.
It kind of looks like the belt, like it's really easy, like an airplane seatbelt, kind of just smooth, easy to adjust.
Yeah. It is, and then when you pop it back in, it just pops right back in. It's good to go. And the cool thing about it, I'm like kind of standing up and doing a demo in my Pac-Man T-shirt. Okay, but so it moves around really easily, so it just sticks to your back, which is nice. And then the whole thing slides around, which is quite cool. And then if you do want to adjust it, let me show if I can. You just pop it up. You can move it up and down very, very easily. Whoops. Well, no, here I go. There, move it down. There we go. I went the wrong way. I was already at the extreme. I couldn't go any further in that direction. But you get the idea. It brings me happiness.
What's that called again? I've got to order one of those.
It's called the Slide from Peak Design.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just cost me some money.
Yeah, it's the best camera strap I've ever used by far.
Wow.
Yeah. And someone else has a weird camera strap here, yes?
You did, John, didn't you? John
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
It was me.
It's
I've got.
Stuart.
Oh, it's Stu. That's right. Sorry.
It's a guitar strap that is been reconditioned into a camera strap. So it's quite an interesting idea, I guess, reconditioning things like that. I'm partial to Black Rapid straps myself, but I will give this one a go. It was a Christmas present from a friend, so yeah, quite like the look of it. Thought it was a guitar strap when I actually opened it up and wondered what the hell my friend had done, but yeah, turned out to be a camera strap.
Well, you can always put it on a guitar if it doesn't work out for you for a camera.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, while we're doing camera strap stuff, can I jump in and show you mine? Because I love what I do. So I use straps from a company called Optech. Here we go, Optech USA, and these guys basically, the straps they're interchangeable. But what I like using these for is because, like the one that Trey just showed, you can undo it, you can take it off. From the, so that you can remove the strap if necessary. But I also use Black Rapid, and when you've got the Black Rapid attached to the base, the tripod foot on a large lens, it means that if the camera comes away from the lens, which they sometimes do, especially when they're upside down, it means that the camera will fall to the ground. So I use, when I take the strap off, I use these two bits that are left, and I'll hook them through the Black Rapid strap and clamp it back together. So then it's like a safety for the body. If the body falls away from the lens, it's not going to fall to the ground. So I've actually had a camera drop into a wet Zodiac in Antarctica before I started to use these. So I like using this system now. It just helps. It's like double protection, and they're great straps.
Nice.
Neat.
Cool.
Thank you.
You know why I don't like the Black Rapid strap, and it's for the same reason they show in the video for this thing. Is, well, two things. One, a lot of them hook in down here, and then if you notice when you have the Black Rapid strap on, the camera just kind of bounces around your hip. It's just kind of like bouncing around while you're walking. This one just kind of keeps it snug up against your body. You just slide the thing around. So that's one reason I like this one better. Anywho, shall we start the competition?
Let's do this!
All right.
Whoa!
Bring it.
Gosh, there was some vitriol in that, RGW. Okay.
I guess I'll chime in real quick and say that real photographers wouldn't use straps at all because they'd actually have their cameras in their hands or on a tripod.
Wow.
That's incendiary.
In Austin, what I do, is that where Gina lives? Austin, right?
Yeah.
In Austin, what I do is I hire a hipster to carry my camera around.
Mason, and then you keep on that hat you have on right now that says photographer, so they know who to hand it to?
Yeah, the camera. And I have to specify which one because often they'll be carrying one of their own, usually like a Polaroid land camera or some old, Minolta, but don't want to get them mixed up.
Okay, so now Robin will begin our endeavor here for the evening. She'll be up first. What happens exactly is that she picks one of her apprentices, and this apprentice could be any level. She might tell a little story about the apprentice, tell us why they're awesome or interesting. She doesn't have to. She might choose to show a selection of images, which is sometimes, by the way, a little sketchy because sometimes people in the audience really like an image, and that's not the final image she chooses, so sometimes they could be shooting themselves in the foot like that. We don't know what's going to happen. There's lots of gamesmanship, but it's up to Robin to present her champion in the best light so that they win the competition. Okay, so Robin, you're up first. After you do this presentation, the other masters will critique the work. Okay, so go for it, Robin.
Oh my gosh, the pressure! All right, okay, I'll do this. So I have to screen share, right, Trey?
Yes, RGW.
Will you click on me so I stay on?
I know what I'm doing. I am a broadcast professional.
All right. So.
Was 3 nights?
Nope. Start it all over again.
Make that full screen, Robin.
Yeah, I'm going. That's why I have to start it all over again. All right.
'Twas 3 nights before Christmas, when all through the house the creation wars was stirring, one and all to grab their mouse and click on that hangout that comes once a week, in hopes that their champion could bear the critique of a nitpicking master who's fostered some dread. We can't second guess what's going on in his head, when what to their wondering eye should appear but the champion, Cole Walder, whose works made them cheer. Yes, indeed, Cole Walder is a man of many amazing abilities. He dives right into every harrowing challenge I give him. Cole is a salsa dancer extraordinaire. He can even salsa in ski boots in the snow. Which leads me into the Christmas theme I chose for selecting some of Cole's works to show you. From beautiful scenes of winter's cold and ice, then onto shining Christmas lights. We can never get enough light during the holidays, so I'll just let Cole's luminary images dazzle you just a bit more. Cole Walder has certainly earned the right to be this week's champion for our cohort.
The boys of the NYP choir were singing Galway Bay, and the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day.
Excellent.
Yay, Robin! Very nice.
And so let me find Cole's image.
You always come so strong, Robin. I'm actually confused as to how you lost last time with these kind of presentation skills. You've set a new bar once again, Robin.
You know, I'm all about the game, right? It's all for fun. For me, it's all for fun. Because I know this is an awesome image. So let's do this. So this is Cole's image. And I think it's incredible. It's a really strong image. This is one I think would immediately go into the portfolio. He did a fantastic job with the connection between the light coming from the open area. It's called She Dreams of Freedom. And yeah, sorry about that thing getting right in the middle of the way there. But let's see if I can get rid of it. No. Oh well. If anybody knows how to get rid of it, you can give me hints. Okay.
Just stop moving your mouse.
I know. I keep trying that, but it just sits there. So maybe I'll take it out of the full screen. See if you guys can actually see it better. All right. So is this easy to see or not? Or you guys will be able to see it from the ones that Stu shares, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the high res that Stu shared, and it's great.
Okay. So yeah, go for it.
So who's up first?
Who's up first on the critique? I'm sorry. Who's up first is Martin.
He's stunned. Trey was stunned by the beauty of this image.
And so was
Martin.
Martin.
I thought there was some explanation coming forward, or I was confused. But it's my fault. Martin.
Well, I was actually wondering if you were going to notice what it came from, Trey.
Well, of course I know, but I was not going to say anything because I didn't want to precede anybody's opinion of it with any of my color commentary. So I'll save mine. I'll save mine for maybe after the competition.
Okay, so Cole took this at Trey and Miss Aniela's workshop. So this is one of the images that he did, and he had the model stand this way just so he could get this. He had this vision for this image.
Well, most people don't actually know that's me in the photo.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Trey, you look dang good in a dress and a wig. I'll tell you.
Well, if you're gonna do it, you should just own it, you know.
Absolutely.
Okay, Martin Bailey, you can begin your critique.
Okay, so yeah, obviously beautiful image, stunning. The light is really special. Obviously, we've got this beautiful light coming in through the window there. I love the textures, the dark feel of the background, but then obviously the brightly lit subject here. For me, it feels just a little bit sort of overcooked, but I know that's the look that is obviously being trying to achieve here. So, you know, I think for what it, you know, for that look, it's just beautiful. I just like the, you know, the light, the colors, the tones. and the textures all just comes together really well.
Cool. Okay, Gina, you are up next.
Yeah, I agree with John on what he said as far as, you know, the textures and the colors, especially the skirt. It's so beautiful. It's just a lot of detail, and I like that a lot. Of course, just that lovely light coming through the shaft there, the window, is really, really nice. As I'm looking closer at it, I'm zooming in, and I'm really looking at the light on her face. And the only thing that, for me, that kind of distracts me, that takes away, is the hard light that's hitting just above her cheekbone on her cheek, and it kind of takes me out of it. And also, it's hard light on her jaw, and I'm just curious about how that got achieved, because the light that's hitting the back of her doesn't seem quite as intense. And I like the feeling of it being more of a single light source from the window, and that particular part of it takes away from me a little bit as that feeling. It has that very Hollywood type look to it that I like, that I tend to go for. So if I were to be lighting the subject, I think that would be something that would stand out for me, that I would want to work around. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful image and great location, and you look fantastic.
All right, John Arnold, go for it.
Okay, I totally agree with Gina about the light reflecting on her jawline. I think what's going on is that the light was very strong coming out the window, and it's reflecting off her hand onto the underside of her jaw. So I mean, the rest of the style of the image is basically sort of highly tone mapped. It's got an almost an HDR-ish look, and it works great on the dress, but that's what I think has caused that weird reflection on her jaw. And that's really the only fault I can find, except maybe to say I'm not sure the color choices are blending together well. It doesn't feel like a finished piece. It feels like the colors they need moving together somehow to make them more of a sort of a working in concert palette. I'm not sure the palette is finished. But I love the storytelling element. It has a sort of a Renaissance thing about it, doesn't it? It feels sort of French and in a dungeon, and I don't know what's going on exactly, but there's a story going on there somewhere. Quite an enjoyable, interesting image.
All right, thank you, John. Good analysis. Okay, that one is done. Now it's time for our next master, Mr. Martin Bailey.
Okay, so as I share my screen, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Brian Wood Koiwa. And Brian is, let's just, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so this is Brian. He's one of our cohorts. Brian lives here in Tokyo. This is Brian's husband. He sent me this to show you. Brian has lived in Tokyo for just over 12 years. He's been, let's see, he's actually been around a lot. He's lived and worked in places like Qatar, Ecuador, Thailand, Australia, and as a Peace Corps volunteer, he's lived in Central Africa, in training in Cameroon and Gabon, and he was posted in the rainforests in the Congo. So he's been around and finally settled in Tokyo about 12 years ago, and his photography is just he works under the he called his website is Urban Weird, urbanweird.com, and he basically does this sort of beautiful urban scene. He mixes it because he's got the Japanese influence. He mixes it with the strong verticals of the architecture and some of his work as well. If you go to his website at photography.urbanweird.com, you can see a lot of traditional Japanese stuff as well. But I just love the stark city views that, the urban landscapes that he does. I mean, our cohort is landscape, but we kind of expand that to a number of different fields, and urban landscapes is one of them. and Brian just does it so well. Here's another one that I love. This shot that he did on earlier this year. This was as part of one of the assignments that we were doing, but he just really composes his images beautifully, and here is the one that I'm going to put forward as my entry. So Brian has this is his first and currently his last composite. He hasn't done any before, so for a first attempt at composite, I just love this photo. It's a view of Tokyo. You know this place, Trey. It's the top of the Mori Tower in Tokyo.
Yes.
Looking out towards the bay. So he's shot his base image, but then he's taken a photo of the Torii, the Shinto shrine that that is in the entrance to the Meiji Jingu shrine here in Tokyo as well, and he's merged them together. And Brian calls this the raising of the Torii by the city's gods. And I just think it's really, I'm not a composite sort of person myself. I don't do that. I don't do composites, but that's, it doesn't stop me from appreciating this. I really just love the textures and the tones. And if, to me, it almost feels like a Torii that's fallen down. To me, from this, I get like that Godzilla's just gone through the town and he's picked up a giant Torii and thrown it into the scene. So I sort of read this differently to how Brian intends it. But this is, for me, is just probably because I live here in Tokyo as well. It's just one of those shots that I kept coming back to, and so I figured that I'd present it to the group today.
Yeah, this is such a cool image. I agree. RGW, you are up.
All right. Well, I love the concept. I think the concept is rockin', wonderful. But I'm a compositor, and so I just see that he needs to just do this a little while longer, and really get a feel for light and directions, and because one of the things about composites is the way to pull them off is you really have to be very, very diligent about lighting directions, etc., and having things connect. It's a little bit heavy on the dark on that upper right side of the added element. There's a lot of muddiness in the base image, and I see this a lot with images that are tone mapped. If you look around a lot of the edges, and ordinarily when I do a critique with one of my people, I will just have it up in Photoshop so I can point out things. But if you look at edges and connections, you start to see there's kind of a bleeding of shadow and highlight and that kind of thing, and it just becomes quite a bit of a distraction. Anyway,
so, Robin, I'm curious, where do you see the lighting inconsistencies?
Well, look at where the shadow fell on the building. Now there's this dark band. You see the buildings right underneath that center band? See, I can't point to anything, so it's really hard to do that.
You mean here, yeah, Robin?
What's that?
You mean here?
I can't. I'm actually looking at the larger version that I was given. So Martin.
Yeah, I think that's what she means, Robin.
Yeah, exactly.
Martin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just a matter of really taking a look at what the light is on the base image, and the light is on the element that you're compositing in. And I don't want to go into like heavy deal because I'll be talking forever, but if I could zoom in and like show, where the inconsistencies are of the light, then it would be easier. But this is supposed to be a really quick one, you guys.
It is supposed to be quick. Thank you, Robin. Okay, next up, Gina. You are muted, Gina. You're muted. We cannot hear your delicate words. Okay.
I'm trying to switch around screens here. Okay, so yeah, I am not a compositor, but very interesting. I'd love to hear what Robin has to say about it. But my initial reactions to it are, I kind of feel the same as what Robin said as far as I love the concept of it. But what doesn't work for me is I like the idea that it's okay, this Godzilla feeling of this big, you know, ancient structure that's taking over the city. But I feel like I'd want to see it have already had taken some action and maybe seeing some of the city being destroyed by it or fading off or something, because it kind of just feels like it's the structure laying on top of the city and that's it. And I think the story of, yeah, it's doing something, it'd be cool even if possibly it's the top quarter of the frame that he maybe creates some kind of obliteration or even a blur effect or something like that.
Remember, yeah. Gina, that's what I read from the photo. Brian's intention is that this is actually being raised, as in it's not the what is it? Godzilla is my addition, so that wasn't his intention.
Okay. Well, even if not, I think when I initially saw it, it seemed, yeah, there was still something missing for me in it being blended together as a composite as opposed to one image kind of laying on the other. And Robin, like said, you know, you're the compositing expert here, so I wouldn't know what the terminology would be to go with that. But that's just my initial reaction on it. I mean, I think it's cool. It's almost looks like in the foreground the city's like got this miniature effect going on the buildings, but it's an awesome effort.
All right, very cool. For what it's worth, I love that photo. I think it's really cool. It was so striking to me too, Martin. I agree with you. I guess I don't know enough about compositing to see all the little flaws. I just found it to be subject matter to be so.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that Brian will love to hear the feedback from Robin and Gina. So, I just think it's a really nice, stunning image. So that's why I selected it.
It's a wicked cool idea for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Gina, you are up.
No.
Oh, I think we still have one more vote.
You missed me.
Sorry, John. You have to critique this one. My bad.
Yeah. How could you miss someone in that hat?
This is. Somebody kiss me quick.
A new hat.
So yeah, getting back to the image. First of all, I love the black and white. I love the fact that he's used the black and white to help make the two images work together so nicely. The sort of the detail in both matches really well. I have a bit of a problem because I think this image is the tail wagging the dog. The reason he calls it raising it up is because it's clearly at an angle, and the reason it's clearly at an angle is because he shot them both from different angles. He stood below the shrine thing and above the city, so it's going to look like it's at an angle, and so he said, well, it's raising up then. But the problem is it can't be raising up, because if it was raising up, then it would have been inside that building that's behind it to begin with. So at the moment, the only interpretation that works is that it is falling down. So you know, I feel like it is an interesting image, and it's a very effective image. But to try and put too much meaning into it and say that it's raising up is to try and make an excuse for the fact that these two things were shot from different angles. So you know, I would lose the title. I was only saying today in a critique, I kind of resent having to give things titles because it makes me feel like I've got to be pretentious, and I just kind of want to say, look at the picture. You know, I'll tell you about the picture. I'll happily give you a story, but I don't want to have to give you this sort of 3-word title that somehow communicates the essence of the photograph. That's too hard. So I, you know, let it be what it is. It's a cool picture of this shrine over the city, and the processing works. The black and white blends in beautifully. I'm not seeing the muddiness that Robin was seeing, but yeah, I really like it. Just that sort of. I would have liked to see the shrine taken from above in the same sort of angle as the city, and then it would have stood over it, towering over it.
I agree about it feels to me like it's falling down, not being raised up.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I like it very much. I particularly love the black and white. I think the black and white looks beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a nice idea, John. I never thought about that, but it's obvious now that you say it. They were looking up at the gate, looking down at the city, and that's just why it looks like that. That makes perfect sense. Very cool image. Okay, now Gina, it's your turn.
Okay, here we go. So I'll start my screen share here. All right. How's that? Do we have it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me just make it a little bit bigger here. So I am bringing in a young gentleman by the name of Justin Osmer. And Justin is a young father and great, I think he's the hero in my cohort. Justin started off with my first week of having apprentices by deciding to just start a hangout and take the lead on that, and so that was really great. I really appreciate Justin doing that, and it really showed me that the spirit of the apprentices helping out and jumping in there and taking the lead was already being felt without me having to tell them too much. So really appreciate Justin doing that. While Justin is out and about shooting, he works with a solar panel company doing sales, and so he's helping our planet at the same time while out trying to learn how to be a great landscape photographer, and that's his interest. And he often says to me, you know, I don't think much about what I want to go out and shoot. I just drive around, and all of a sudden I'll see something that just attracts me, and I just decide to grab it, and then I'll go in and play with it for a few moments, and that's about the extent of what I've been doing. But as you can see, he's obviously just starting off doing a great job for a little bit of time that he is doing it. And Justin was also a little hesitant to join right now because he had sold his camera gear and he's only shooting with his iPhone. Now these images were shot, I believe, with one of his mirrorless camera that he did have. And so we're going to have that. But Justin's taking the challenge of going through the Arcanum with his iPhone 6 and seeing what he can do with just that. But so this right here is my image from Justin that I wanted to present. And it is a self-portrait of Justin at the Santa Monica Pier. And I feel like it kind of represents our cohort as a whole. We're a general photography cohort and very international. I intentionally created it that way, and I like the fact that Justin is just standing in one of his own landscapes and also great attraction photos. I really thought the color was amazing, and the color of the purple on the sand and the water just really attracted me, and his thoughtfulness of where he was going to stand, you know, in the composition, and recognizing that he had no footsteps, and he told me he deliberately stepped into the photo that way as opposed to the far right. He really wanted those footsteps to come in from the bottom of the frame and arc over. You know, it's a pier that we see lots of photos of, but I don't think I've ever seen one like this, and I don't know, it just really attracted me out into the beautiful, colorful world of the night and the Ferris wheel, and just really feels good to me. So I am presenting this for your consideration here, my first time.
All right, very cool. Robin, what do you think?
Well, I think it's gorgeous. It's a wonderful image. Just as a critique, I feel like the image itself, it needs a crop. There's just too much on the sides. It's too much information, and we're sort of losing. I mean, it's either a selfie or it's a landscape, and he is just kind of lost there. So I feel like this would be a much more powerful image with a crop. Otherwise, I love it. I can't really show you what kind of crop I would pick for it. But no, it's a great image. Very nice.
Yeah, I kind of played with that thought too, Robin, when I was guiding him, and I was struggling back and forth. You know, it's like kind of a hard, in my mind, it was almost like a hard crop, because that roller coaster, you know, on the right, like seeing all of it's kind of cool. But
yeah, he
it's a
doesn't
tough
need
one.
all that sky. He doesn't need all that sky. He doesn't need some of that stuff on the left. It's just, it's definitely not contributing to the image. It's not adding information that's supporting the main character, and that's him and the connection with what he's looking at. But otherwise, I mean, you know, yes, the colors are great. It's a fun image. It's his iPhone.
No, this I believe was with his. This was his Nikon.
Oh, okay, I thought you were.
This is prior. Yeah, this is prior to having to start shooting with the iPhone. It was a 2-second exposure, and yeah, it was. So it was shot with his. I think it was his mirrorless camera that he had at the time.
Okay. Anyway, I was gonna be really impressed if it was an iPhone shot.
Yeah.
Okay, Martin, you are up.
Okay. Yeah, I like it a lot. I think that the addition of the way he's purposefully walked into the scene from that angle works well. I also like the tints, the color tints that we're getting from the lights in the amusement park is really nice. The way it's reflecting on the beach and everything. I agree with Robin in that we could probably crop down a little bit. I would probably go to just to the left of that post on the beach there. You know, it is always a huge temptation to try to complete an object, and having the right side of the roller coaster is a temptation, but it's not always necessary. And I think that if you came into just to the left of that post on the beach there, and then maybe cropped in just to either the very tip or even a little bit further into the end of the pier, that would work really well. And if you want to keep the aspect ratio, then lose some of the sky. It's just black. It doesn't really not necessary, but the steps walking into the shot they're important. I think you need to leave those, so probably crop downwards. But I also, for me, I mean, I'm a stickler for getting things straight, and this is leaning over to the right slightly. The verticals in the, I know that the pier looks straight this way, but the verticals in the pier are all leaning to the left. Sorry, did I say right? It's leaning to the left slightly. I would probably try to get the camera straight in the field using the digital level inside, or one of those levels that you can put in the hot shoe. But that's me. I mean, I'm a stickler for that in my landscapes, and it kind of jumps out at me when I see that in other people's photos. But otherwise, yeah, great. I mean, the crop is something that I would consider. But everything else works well. I don't think he necessarily needs to be that much bigger in the frame. It's a person in a landscape as opposed to a selfie. So I think it feels okay that way. But probably, as Robin said, a crop would really help as well.
Yeah. It's interesting what you're saying about the levels, because it actually was off more, and we did work on that for him. That was one of the things we pointed out, especially on the right side. It tends to get that distortion on it. But yeah, I agree with you in that aspect as far as that goes. But I think he did an amazing job of that. And yeah, it definitely. To be honest with you guys, when Justin first brought this photo to me, I didn't really see him in the shot. Of course, your eye first goes that. When I heard it was that, I liked the mysteriousness of it being the person in the shot, and then that was him. So, anyways, thank you for that.
I like this, Stu, don't you? Gina with the immediate rebuttal to the critique.
It's
this
the way that it should
twist, Stu.
It's no need to wait until you have your little roundup at the end. Just get straight in there and slap people about.
No, you just got to do it.
I like it because it's quite.
Got to defend my guy.
It can be quite intimidating to the next person who's about to give a critique. They'd be like, "I better just tap on the brakes because the Gina train's coming down the tracks." Okay.
I'm not frightened. I'm not frightened. All right. I'm just to prove that I'm not frightened, I'm going to say I completely disagree with you both about the cropping. To me, this is a shot of the pier, not of the man. He's in there, and there is a shot within the shot with him looking towards that. I guess it's like a big wheel. I don't know what you guys call it in America. In England, that's a big wheel. So I can see the shot you mean inside the shot, and you know, using the shadow would go into the corner of the frame, and honestly, the footsteps don't. They're neither here nor there for me. The footsteps are nothing for me. But the sorry,
wow, that was strong.
Saying what I see. In fact, I would probably aim to have them hidden by the shadow. The footsteps are just. It doesn't matter that they're there, but I would have preferred them not to be, really. So what I see is a picture of a pier, which is a picture of the place, and maybe there's a story that connects this person with this pier. Maybe this is somewhere he lives, maybe this is something that he's leaving behind. It looks like he's looking at it in a kind of a melancholic way, and I just, to me, it is the relationship of the man to the place, and that makes the place a player. It makes it a subject, and in order to be a subject, we have to see the whole thing. And the other thing that bothers me about the idea of cropping in is if we crop off the left-hand end of this pier, it's going to become this massive barrier. And it will stop being a subject that is there in the shot that has sort of distance and depth, and start being a background. And if you crop in, you make the man much more the subject. And if you're going to do that, you're going to need more separation between the man and the dark background.
Yeah, that was the point. He wanted it to be. He wanted himself to be the subject.
Right. Okay. Well, then he needed to stand somewhere where he was better delineated against the background. I would suggest in front of one of the lines of lights rather than in front of the only dark bit in the whole area.
Yes, and that was a discussion as well in our critique.
It's easily fixable though, because there is a rim light around his head. It just needs a little bit of lifting. That's all.
Right. Right. We had done that. Yeah, we had done that, and I think he played with it more. He was afraid it was going to go too much. But yes, and I love your defensiveness. Of course, I have to defend his footsteps. You know, it's one of those subtleties that, you know, because it's so much going on. The more you stare at, oh, there's footsteps.
So Master John Arnold, someday when Justin dies and he follows the light, he goes through the pearly gates and he sees you. He says, Master John Arnold, I was walking down the beach and there were 2 sets of footsteps. And then at one point, there was 1 set of footsteps. I looked back. And then, John, you can say, yes, my son.
And I'll say, my son, I was photoshopping behind you.
I had a broom. I was sweeping them up behind you.
You need the footsteps in there. He wouldn't be able to get out there without the footsteps.
Yeah, so that would make it cooler that there were no footsteps, would it not?
No.
Emma the pragmatist.
I know that Justin is watching right now and just loving the discussion over the footsteps.
Okay, John.
So
Arnold,
that is
your
Great
turn.
image.
Is it? Oh, I'm up,
Awesome
am I?
image.
Okay, right, let me share my screen. I should share my screen, choose that one there, and get the video up. Right, are you seeing my screen?
Here
I have
we go.
a video. It does not have sound. I will merely talk over the video. But where's the button? How do I press the play button on this?
Spacebar, spacebar.
Spacebar, thank you. Right, so I want to introduce a concept. I put together a challenge for my cohort, and I'm showing you the images that came in for that challenge. So I set this challenge where I wanted people to think like a videographer, and I wanted them to do 3 shots. 1 wide, where they were going to get establishing shot of the whole area, and then I wanted them to get closer in on the subject, and then I wanted them to get closer in on either a piece of action or a detail of the subject. So these are the shots that all of my cohorts submitted to that challenge. And the reason I'm showing you this is that the image that I'm going to choose to show you from Chris was one of the images that came in from that challenge, which is why it's not quite as heavily processed as some of his other stuff. But I just think it's a really cool idea, and the reason I'm bringing this up is that one of the things I think it's possible to do is it's possible to get really, really good at one thing. and never step outside of that. And I hope that one of the things that we're going to do in the Arcanum is try and inspire people to step into taking pictures that they wouldn't have thought to take before, and hopefully broaden their repertoire of things that they're going to think of to shoot, rather than always going somewhere and doing what they always do. You know, going somewhere and having other options as well. So that's my short video of the images that came in for that challenge. Let me just get that back.
What a great challenge, John.
Mm-hmm. It was a fun one, yeah. And I'd be interested to know whether or not I've got the terminology right, because Gina's a video person. But anyway, so let me get back into Lightroom now.
So far, so good. Even though you didn't like my footsteps.
It's all right. They weren't your footsteps. Don't take personal. Don't make it personal. Right. So now getting on to Chris, who's the guy that took the picture. I'm gonna show you. Chris has really mastered landscape photography like this, and the picture I'm going to show you was taken on what he calls his northern adventure. He's got a bunch of mates, and they go they're trying to get all of the Scottish Islands, and they're going to try and do it in 10 years. They do a 10-year pilgrimage to as many Scottish Islands as possible. So far they've done Skye and Harris and Mull and Iona, and the picture I'm going to show you was taken in Mull, but the story goes that they do this sort of trip down on a Thursday, trip up, I suppose, on a Thursday, and they just every morning they're up at 4 a.m. and they catch every dawn and every dusk, and then they're into the night shooting the star trails, and then they go to bed at maybe 4 in the morning and then get up at 6 the next morning to get the next sunrise, and they just go, you know, like a bat out of hell to try and get as many pictures as they can for the whole of the days they're there. And this is the sort of thing that Chris does. I was supposed to have been clicking through these. So these are the sort of pictures that Chris is making, and these are the ones that he's spent a lot of time on, making them absolutely beautiful. He nailed his level 4 critique today, blew through his required 5 points by a million miles. And I think you'll agree he's got quite some talent. So let me just show you the 3 pictures he took for the wide, medium, close-up challenge. So this is his wide shot, and you can see that wonderful vista, and he's got that subject in there. And then here's the medium shot, getting closer in on the subject, still showing it in the context of its location, and then a close-up on just a detail of the boat. And again, even now, still showing in the context of its location. And finally, this is the picture that I want you to judge. Not as heavily processed as some of the others that I've shown you, but I think it really just goes to show that he's got a real eye for composition, an eye for an interesting detail, and I think I recommend this to the jury.
That's a very good challenge and perfectly executed. So, John, when you just kind of dreamt up this challenge in your giant brain, did you envision that it would be executed so well?
I hoped. It's just one of those things that I try and do with my own photography. I try and think about, you know, sometimes you want to see stuff in the context of where it is, and sometimes you want to show somebody an interesting detail. And I think if you're drawn to one or the other, you might want to consider taking the opposite. So sometimes you look at a location, and you think, I want to get that vista, and then so I think it's fun to try and go to the other extreme and find a detail in the vista. And likewise, if you're drawn to a detail, try and get the wide angle. So
right on. Okay.
Ideas.
Robin, critique away like the wind.
All right. Critique like the wind. Wow. Oh my gosh, I feel so mystical now. It's a great image. I love it. I really love that challenge of yours, John. I'm going to steal it somewhere along the line. It's fantastic.
John, leave this
one of the things that...
John.
Yeah, John, can you pull up the image so we can? I like to click on it while she critiques.
Oh, okay.
One of the things that when I look at, I tend to, because I have an artist background, so I tend to look at some of the core basics of art. And when you have a lot of saturation in other areas other than your main subject, it can kind of be a distraction. It's like they're like two main actors competing on the stage together for center stage.
And so what's happening with this image is that particularly over to the right, that bright yellow and the red, it's got a high value and it's got a lot of saturation. And so those should have been brought down in post. And other than that, I love the composition. I think he did a fabulous job. I actually loved all of his 3 shots in this, the 3 series. Is it? This is one of the ones, right? That was in
this is a medium shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I really. He has a great eye, and it's a wonderful composition. It's really, for me, it's just a post work thing that I would want to see that little area on the right that's bright yellow kind of pulled down, just so it's not pulling me over there.
I would actually agree with you, and I think so would Chris. And this was submitted as a submission to this challenge. It didn't go through his full-on heavyweight, post-processing, and I mean, you've seen some of the images I showed you where those are on his wall at home. And this one is not on his wall at home, but it is, I think, a good demonstration of how to do this well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, very nice.
Okay, Martin, you're up.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful shot again. The greens on the boat are really striking. I love the overall palette. The oranges and browns work well with the greens, and the green in the grass in the foreground. Really nice color contrast there. I agree with Robin about the splash of light. The hill in the back there is fine for me, but maybe just reduce the luminosity on that splash of light a little bit on both the hillside and the reflection. But that's really the only thing that I would do to this. And I like John was mentioning about the heavier processing in the other images. I don't quite see that. I mean, they were black and white, but didn't really seem overly processed. And this to me seems perhaps in some ways more processed, but the color helps it. I like the processing. It's probably about as far as I would take it. I definitely wouldn't take it any more. So all in all, though, I really like it. I think it works very well. The details are great. Like I say, the grasses in the foreground. I love the greens, and I also like that we can see some of those grasses as they recede out into the lake, or probably lake, maybe the sea. I'm not sure, but
it's probably a loch, actually.
Yeah. Oh, if it was up in Scotland, then yeah.
Yeah.
But
sorry, loch, I believe.
Yeah, loch.
Or loch.
So. Yeah, no, great image. I like it a lot. I think I also like the fact that it's got that little house, the farmhouse or something back there, a nice hidden element that gives us something to find as we explore the image. As is the little black rock and the one to the left of it in the loch.
Yep, totally agree with all of that.
Good stuff.
Okay, Gina.
Okay. Yeah, I love the boat. I love the wood. I love the old aging of the wood, and just seeing all that texture and the paint, feeling paint and faded paints and all of that. I like the composition, and I also like the colors of the hills and stuff. The thing that isn't distracting me, the right side's not distracting me as much as the dark green background of the groves, whatever that forested area is back there. For some reason, it takes me out of the photo just a little bit, and I don't really, to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what to do in that situation other than possibly maybe think about the composition when shooting again. I love the angle of the boat, and I could see why I'd want to shoot it from that angle because the shape is so beautiful from that side. But I was thinking possibly two things. Maybe one being, what if it was a longer lens and maybe a shallower depth of field to eliminate that back and have the boat pop a little bit more. But I know that would also affect the shape of the boat that we're feeling, that wideness that we get. And also perhaps just even a hair higher might give us the reflection image of the lake all the way around the boat. So those are just a couple things that take me out of it. but overall, yeah, it is beautiful. I just love old things, old boats, old cars, things that you find out there that you can photograph. It's just really fun. So.
Okay.
He has done a wonderful job with that texture, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll go in reverse order. Everyone has one final chance, a final 10 seconds to get people to vote for their image, a good chance to beg for votes. There's a lot of gamesmanship that happens here because they all vote on each other's images, right? So we'll go in reverse. That means you go first, John.
Okay. I don't know whether or not I'm still supposed to be sharing my screen, but I'll bring it back up.
Just to remind people, because actually the reason we do this is sometimes people forget, like, which ones the first and second ones look like, for example.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what more I can add to this except to say that I agree with all of the critiques, really. I think that little splash of light on the right-hand side there came through in this version, the wide angle, which Chris agrees that the light in the background is too strong, and that's what you're seeing here. So I was either cropping just a tiny bit or just darkening it down. But other than that, I think the composition is what really makes this beautiful, and it is that shape. I think it was it Gina or was it Robin that said that why you'd want to shoot it from this angle?
Gina,
I think it's exactly right. And the boat leads to the house, and then we've got all this wonderful landscape to look at before our eye comes back down and around. It guides the eye beautifully. It's just like a beautifully finished image. So I love this picture. I hope you choose it.
Very cool. Gina, you're up.
Okay, let me just share mine here. And
Robin, you can pull yours up too if you want to get ready.
Okay. I think you've got it there, Trey.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, hey, it's my first time. I'm coming out fighting. I've got great color. I've got a guy with footsteps, and God's watching him, and maybe he'll reveal the footsteps at one point in time in his life, and maybe he won't. But anyways, no, I think that Justin did an amazing job, and it has that double quality to. There's a lot going on in this image. It's not just a shot of a pier; it's a shot of a man in his pier, and looking towards his future, and it is very colorful and bright, and he's waiting to ride that Ferris wheel.
Very
Go,
nice
Justin.
Very nice. Okay, Martin, you're up.
Okay, yeah. So again, for me, I mean, I realize that this is not the most technically wonderful composite, but it for me it works well. I'm more concerned with me about how it makes me feel, and when I saw this, it was like wow. So that for me is more important. So I understand that there's probably more that could be done, and even Brian said that to back up his the story of this being raised, he would love to be able to get so good at compositing that he could put some wires in there for the gods to be pulling the gate upwards rather than it look like it's just falling down. But yeah, that for me works well. I like the photo. That's why I chose it today, and I hope that you give me a vote or 3.
Very cool. And Robin, you're up last.
All right. So Cole Walder's image just stuns me. I think he did a fantastic job with it. There are so many things, so many directions it could have gone that he didn't go into. He kept most of the detail on our main subject here, getting this light connection. He didn't end up with a lot of heavy grunge, etc., in all the other areas. The color combination, I think it was John that mentioned that it was off. It actually is a color harmony. The magenta red and pinks with the yellow greens and the teal cyan blue, this around here, they're actually a perfect color combination, and I was actually amazed at how well he brought this together. Because color is not something that's easy for people to see, how they work together, and I was really, really amazed at how he fully realized this and kept the processing with a little bit of extreme, but just with a light hand, so that it didn't go too far over, and the saturation was pretty much, I guess, I don't think he did anything extra to bump up the saturation. So I think he kept a light hand on it, and it works really, really well.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to send you guys your voting sheets right now. And while they vote, Tiff and Stu, why don't you talk about the newsletter?
Sure. Stu, are you talking or am I?
You go for it. I'll follow. Carry on.
Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, we launched our first Arcanum newsletter, which features a few interesting stories every week from different apprentices and masters, and there's always a photography tip and that kind of stuff in there. Something from the Grand Library that you might not have seen, a quick little something under 10 minutes kind of thing. Yeah, you can check your inbox for it or check on the social channel because I also post it there. Stu, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, so one of the things that we like to do at the beginning of the newsletter is to just give people little hints about how they might be able to improve their profile within the Arcanum app to get better selected by a master. And one of the things that we're going to be doing on this one, and I'm give away a little spoiler, is that there's been a few times that I've heard masters say that they've been trying to invite people and they'll send the invite out to someone who's applied a while ago and they just never hear back from them. And that might be that someone just isn't interested or doesn't have the time for the Arcanum anymore, as crazy as it may seem. But also it might be that their email address isn't up to date. So there is a field within the Arcanum profile and application, if you're someone who has applied but not been selected, where you can put in an alternate email address, the main one that you would use if it's not your Gmail account. So if you are one of these people who uses separate emails for different things, please go in and make that be a valid, happy, everyday used email that you can watch out for a nice invite from a master dropping into your inbox. Yep. So yeah, that's a little bit of this week's newsletter that's coming up, and that will be out in about 2 days' time or so.
Awesome. That's really important actually, because we've had new masters coming on, you know, a week for the last few weeks now. So yeah, we're really growing, and we've got more coming that are going to be coming on board in the next few weeks, I think. So definitely worth getting in there and checking out the details and updating your application for sure.
Very good. Thanks, guys. So I have all the votes in except for Ginas. Everyone else can just kind of chat it up.
Come on, Gina, jeez.
Well, I have some. I guess people probably know, but there's obviously a nice, really good interactive community going on within the Arcanum, and watching the show, as well as Tiff doing the social media and things like that. There's a whole bunch of different chats going on within Google Plus and things like that, and there are other masters watching just now and critiquing in other windows while you guys are critiquing each other. So it's quite an interesting little thing going on. And just saying, I'll give one little thing here. And this particular master thinks that the boat image should win. So see if that sways your vote either way. He says that the processing fits the shot, which was the key thing for him. So keep that in mind when you're giving your votes and change them now.
If you've already submitted, it's too late. Gina is the only one that has a chance to move the needle now.
So sorry, guys. I'm obviously new at this. I'm seeing where I'm supposed to put my vote. Okay.
Gina, did you get my Amazon gift certificate yet? Honey?
Yeah,
it's in your email.
If not, I can pour you a glass of wine.
What am I giving? Between 3 and 5? What am I giving here?
What? I can lend you a nice hat. What can I do to make your day happier, Gina?
We're
Probably
doing
stop
this
talking to her while she's doing this.
The show will never end if we keep doing this. Just real quick, the voting is the same as we're doing 0 through 3, like we do everything else, or no?
No, not at all. This is completely different.
That's the one part I missed, Trey.
Okay,
Look for your
this is how
hangout.
voting works, and this may be interesting to the audience as well. Every judge is given a unit of voting, which is called a silver talent. They have 5 of these that they can distribute amongst the various works. They cannot vote on their own work. For the other works, they can give 0, 1, 2, or 3 of the talents, but no more than 3.
Okay.
Okay, so you have 5 to distribute, Gina.
Thank you.
You have
5
ultimate power now.
3. Okay, here we go.
I will tell you that right? I am... going into this competition, I looked at those images. I had no idea who would win. After hearing everybody, I still have no idea who will win. So I'm super interested in myself.
Yes, it's tough here. Okay.
Here, let me wipe that sweat off your brow there, Gina.
Yeah, I know the pressure is on, and it's also. Am I typing it in right? Am I actually giving the right things here?
Because so many people sent their votes in exactly correct, with no mistakes.
Does this make sense?
I tell you all that it is a tie right now before we get Gina's votes.
Does that make sense, Trey? I did that.
I gotta say, the more wine I drink, the less I care, honestly.
So everyone's votes came in perfectly except for Gina's. But I will have to spend a few moments to reverse it.
I'll tell you what you could do.
She has pasted.
You could tell us what the scores are now, and then Gina could give us the scores, and we could hear live from Gina's own lips what the casting votes are.
It's all right. It's bad enough. I'm already getting, torn apart by Trey here and doing this wrong. Let's see.
I have a question actually about one of the images that I'm interested to hear what you guys, what your opinion is on it. So, Martin's image that
I'm
submitted on behalf of,
here, I'll be
behalf of Brian. If that image had chains or ropes or something like that attached to the item that was rising from the city, would that have changed anything? And I say that only because I think the image is absolutely awesome and way better than I could have even hoped to have achieved if I tried the same thing. But it did occur to me that might be an interesting addition to the
There
image.
are definitely details that would have contributed to the story, yes.
That's what Brian was saying. So I think if he could get a way to photograph some rope or like you say there, Stu, chains, and then get them in there.
Or a giant dinosaur foot.
Yeah.
I think Godzilla storming across the bay in the background there would have been just the perfect addition.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys. The results are in.
Yeah.
Now, as is commonly known in the Creation Wars, that the voting is always very confusing, and there's always great controversy in the scoring. This has happened week on week on week. This week is no exception. In fact, this week's scoring may indeed be the most controversial for a reason that you will soon find out. Now, I said that before that final set of votes came in incorrectly, by the way, by Gina, totally formatted in the wrong way. So I had to figure out. After figuring them out, there was a tie for first, but one of those people has dropped into third, but there is a new tie for first place. Now,
wow, I screwed it up that badly, huh?
What happens is I do not vote. I don't have a shark in the sea. But I am the tiebreaker. I am the ultimate tiebreaker in case there is a tie. However, in this case, I will not be the tiebreaker because I actually know the guy who's in the tiebreaker, Carl Wilder, who is in RGW's cohort. Okay? So the tie is between RGW and John Arnold.
Oh, yeah, Cole, at least that's good.
Right, it's broken pool cue time.
But I will take my power, and I will relinquish my power, and I will transfer it to Tiff. Okay? So Tiff, who is one of the heroes of the Arcanum, will cast the tie-breaking vote. Stu, I almost gave it to you. But I find that in moments of controversy, it's always best to go with the opinion of a woman. Okay?
That's fair.
This is something I find that when I listen to the women in my life, that my life goes easier, and it goes in a softer direction. So Tiff,
Yeah, honey,
yeah.
can you drop your Amazon wish list into the chat window really quick, dear? And we'll see if we can't take care of something there for you. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm just having a quick another look at the images because I wasn't expecting that at all.
Okay, let's all talk amongst ourselves. Let's let Tiff have a moment alone.
Do you know the problem is that the People's Choice was also a tie between those two as well. So I can't even let the People's Choice decide.
Nothing to fall back down.
Cool.
Okay, all right, Tiff. The weight of the Arcanum is upon your shoulders.
Yep, no
The
pressure.
hopes and dreams
I will give you
of a young
2 minutes
photographer.
to decide. You can have 60 seconds to look at one image, 60 to look at another. You can blank your screen if you want to, so we won't be looking at you.
Yeah.
You'll feel like the entire internet is not looking at you. Okay, so
Yeah, honey,
your
let's just put it this
audio.
way, dear. John is a lot nicer than I am. Right?
Well, that's
Okay.
great.
You're hearing me there? All right. Okay.
Especially with those horns on your head.
I have horns.
I like how the Amazon wish list doesn't work, so we result to threatened.
I was thinking that as I was looking at them, if there was a tie, that Brian would get extra points because bow ties are cool, and he was wearing bow tie in his picture, but he's not in the top two, so we have to go with the bonus points for an image from Scotland, in which that sways it the other way. So.
Well, if it helps, I can reveal exclusively that Chris was wearing a bow tie when he took the picture of the boat.
in the middle of the Highlands.
Yeah,
there you go, Tiff.
Oh, man.
Okay.
No pressure.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
It is. Yeah, I should roll a d20 or something. Just to make it fair.
Okay, good D&D reference. But
Yeah.
no.
I don't know, this is so hard because I'm trying to get into portraiture and I don't know, just that portrait just really grabs me, but they're both really awesome images to me anyway, and I haven't been doing this for nearly as long as anybody else on the panel here. But yeah, I love that painterly effect of the portrait, and so that's my favourite, so that's the one I'm going on, even though the other one was a very, very close second.
You're choosing wrong.
I know.
Okay, so the winner, the official winner by tiebreaker, Tiff, is Robin Griggs Wood and the great Cole Walder. Fantastic.
Great, Cole Walder. I mean, the dude salsa dances in the snow. Come on.
By the way, most people don't know this about Cole Walder, but he is half Hobbit. I spent a long time with this guy in Paris, and things got a little wild. And I found out he's half Hobbit.
I believe it.
Great.
Totally believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cole is a great guy.
Well done,
You know, another thing that you didn't say about him, which is I think is kind of gives him incredible geek cred, is that he works at Rockstar Games and he is the sound engineer for Grand Theft Auto. So all the music and the sound and everything you hear in Grand Theft Auto is because of him.
Well, that's got to count against him, surely.
I had so many things I could say about him, but I figured you guys could tell me if I just went on and on and on.
Now, if you guys remember, if you saw last week's Creation Wars, at the end there was a lot of upset masters. It was wild. Mason Marsh called out Jessica Lark, said, "Oh, if I'd only been up against Jessica, I could have easily beaten her." He hates being up against Angela B. Pan. So if you guys want to throw down any challenges to other masters, now is kind of the time at the end of the World Wrestling Federation. Everyone comes in their ring, and there's chairs being thrown, and people grab the mic and throw down threats. This is that time.
I don't know. I just like these guys too much. I'm a reindeer, you know.
That's not WWF at all.
Maybe this is where we need Gino, huh?
Okay, I'm updating the spreadsheet with winners and losers.
Oh, I didn't know they were going to be rolling.
I just think it was, you know, I definitely had I was the underdog, and first time in, I just feel like maybe it was a little bit of fresh meat thrown into the arena there. Wasn't too bad, but I think I did pretty well considering.
I gave you points,
Definitely
Gina.
a good
I liked
show,
it.
Gina.
I
Definitely.
liked it. Remember who your friends are. We're forming an alliance here, okay?
That's right. That's right.
So,
You don't like me because of that darn broken pool cue, John.
yeah,
Girl
that's what
makes
it is.
one mistake.
Made one mistake. All he did was steal 3 cohort members from me. It was nothing.
Oh, I got 5 out of the deal. 5.
5. Oh,
5. Yep.
Wow.
she doesn't share, ladies and gentlemen. She doesn't share.
But they were like puppies. They all wanted to stay together. So you can't say no to puppies.
I'm imagining your cohort all stood in a line holding hands, like kindergarten kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. On a field trip.
All right. So, do you guys want to share any personal photos that you've been working on, or current or past, or talk about them? We'll go in the same order if you like. I have no idea if you do or not. If you don't, you can just pass. It's fine. RGW.
I actually wasn't going to share personal photos today. I was going to. Hang on a second. Well, I have to find it first. So, can you have somebody else share? I just have to find it first.
Martin, do you want to share some stuff?
Sure. I was over with the adorable, excuse me, the adorable snow monkeys last week. So I can show you quickly a few photos from those guys.
Cool. Wow.
So I was playing with the new 7D Mark II from Canon and just grabbed some photos of the snow monkeys. I'm not going to go through all of these. Like these ones where the little ones are suckling, and I think this is probably my favorite. It snowed really heavily on the 3rd day, so we had the monkeys all sort of hunkered down and trying to keep warm. But yeah, they're amazing creatures, and we stand right next to them. You've been over there as well, right, Trey?
I have been, but I don't have a photo near that good.
It's it really, for me, it really depends on the weather, and we had 3. It was middle of December, but we had 3 days where we had different weather on each day, and the 3rd day with heavy snow was great. So I'm happy that we got there. And if I could, quickly, our 2015 tour is already fully booked, but we're taking bookings for 2016 if anyone's interested. So if you go to mbp.ac/workshops, you can see details of the tours where I take people over to this place as well as the winter wildlife in Hokkaido, the northern island of Japan.
You guys, I super recommend you hook up with Martin in Tokyo and do his workshop, because Japan's a wild place to go, and if you go with someone that knows what they're doing, they will get you some good shots. I think Martin will get you amazing shots. I'm sure of it. You can tell by his work. So I highly recommend it.
Martin's workshop is top of my list. Top of my list.
Martin, I stayed at a little. I forgot what are those places called where the samurai used to stay near as they travel around.
Ryokan?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I stayed there, and it was a place, with the sliding rice paper walls and everything. I know you know that. I'm telling this to other people. You sleep on a futon on the ground. Anyway, they had a hot tub downstairs, like a big old hot tub. And it was a long day of shooting. It's hard to get there. I was tired. I overdid it as usual. And then I'm laying in the hot tub. I'm down there by myself. I fall asleep. And I woke up, and there's a snow monkey right beside me in the hot tub.
Brilliant.
I thought I'm in a hot tub with a snow monkey.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah.
And they're kind of scary. So when their teeth go, you're like, whoa, get me out of here.
Yeah. They've got some nasty fangs. They can be nasty. There's a few rules that I always tell people, and one of them is don't touch them. And then one year we went down there, and my group walked straight in, and this guy from Canada just reached out and touched it, and almost took his head off. So he decided that the alpha male would be a good one to touch. Not a good idea.
Canadians, you can't take them anywhere. Okay. Who wants to go next? Are you ready, Robin?
Yeah, I can do it. Anyway, so it's really not showing my work as much as really I just want to pass something along to empower people. I gave Stu and Tiff in our little chat window on the Hangout the link to it. It's just a Google. This is not my real website, but I don't like the text formatting on the other one. Anyway, so sites.google.com, site Robin Griggs Wood Art, and you're going to click on the care and feeding of your muse. And this is for artists. If you ever get in a creative block, read this. There's a two-part article, and basically read and do. And this is your creative block busting article, and that's it for my share.
Awesome, awesome. Who's up next? John, Gina? I always go last, by the way.
I don't have any work of my own to show because I'm working on video at the moment, but I would love to show you some of the pictures my cohort's been working on, if that's okay.
You bet.
Particularly, I wanted to show you. Let me share my screen. Where is the thing that makes it share the screen? It's the button around here. So there it is. Right, that one. Right, you should see my screen with. There we go. Yes. So we had I've been doing a post-processing thing. We had our first one last week, I think. And one of our cohort members took this picture. This is not her original. This is Steve Kramer's version of it. And we decided all I was doing was going through Lightroom and some Photoshop and a bit of this and a bit of that. And we looked at one of the pictures that Janet in my cohort had produced, and it's just got lovely detail throughout and lovely colours and stuff in it. And so I just said, right, guys, next challenge is everybody post-process Janet's picture. And I just wanted to show you what happens when like 15 people look at the same picture and get to work on it. So this one's Steve's version, and you can see Steve's gone for a sort of a low colour version in the ground, and he's brought out the sky, all that detail in the sky, all that filigree looks fantastic. And then we've got, who's this one? This one's Frank. Frank's gone for a much more moody approach with richer colours, you know, and I'm just going to flick through these just so you can see all the different approaches. This is just, you know, photography fun. It's just a straightforward way of Freddie did an interesting approach here. This is Freddie. He did two different versions, and I think there's one, and there's the other. So you can see in this one he went for a sort of a smoother sky and a detailed ground, and this one he did a sort of a more detailed sky and a smoother ground. And I said to him, I said, I want a bit, half and half. I want a bit of each. So we're just trying to pull people's pictures apart and see what's great about them. My personal favourite out of these, and I wasn't going to pick a winner, but I'm going to do it anyway, is probably this one by Matthew, because I think you've got the colour in the ground really rich and interesting. The detail looks good but not too crunchy, and in particular I love the way he brought out this beautiful pink cloud in the sky and just that little spot of yellow on the horizon. So, you know, we're just one picture inspired a whole bunch of posts, and you can see Google Plus is making life difficult for us by splitting them up again. But yeah, I mean, check out this one. Whoa, that's dramatic. Richard decided to go a little off reservation and make it really crazy. But we're playing around here. We're having fun with these pictures. I love this one too. So yeah, that's what we're working on in our cohort at the moment. And as soon as I finish my video work, I'll hopefully get back to post-processing some photos of my own.
Very cool, John. You have cool challenges. By the way, one thing we're going to do with the Arcanum, especially in Sphere 2 and 3 and beyond, is that it's going to be kind of more like a questing system, like in a game, for example. And masters, they get to develop and design their own set of 10 levels for Sphere 2, Sphere 3, Sphere 4, for example. These are going to be like almost like expansion packs in a game. So the first 20 levels will be kind of standardized, even though a lot of masters now have really customized them, which is fine. But in the future, they'll be kind of more standardized, and all the real kind of sexy challenges will be in the higher level spheres. So like when John creates really fun challenges like this, they kind of go into this bucket. And when other masters are wondering what to put at the various levels, they can pull from his challenges or his quest or other quests, and they kind of have their level builder type thing, which will be really, really fun. Actually, we know it will be awesome. Okay, Gina, did you have something?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't mind, I mean, I spend most of my time doing video, and I don't shoot a lot in my own photography as much as I'd like to with my, DSLR. I'm really working on it. I do most of my own still photography with my smartphone, and I've gotten into that because I also teach people how to shoot video with a smartphone and just video in general. So I just wanted to share, if you don't mind, my site and what's available there for a moment for people. And let's see here. There we go. So this is just a program that I have that I created last year, and it's called Ginas Smartphone Video Techniques. It's a 15-part series on how to shoot professional-looking video with a smartphone, which is actually doable. And what I'm doing is I've taken some of the a few of the tutorials in here, especially in the post-production area, on how to edit in iMovie. And I've taken a few of them, and I've adapted like a new intro that I'm going to update and actually put into the Grand Library, because I know there's interest for some video work going on between the masters and the apprentices. Want to learn some tips and techniques. So that's kind of what I've been working towards contributing to the Arcanum, and I love being able to do it. But just for my own fun and my own photography, I just go out, in the mornings quite a bit and just shoot some still photos here and there. But then I also do some videos. I'm just switching over. There's a site called Trip Films. Anybody familiar with it?
Oh.
It's videos, travel videos, and they've been picking up some of my stuff. This is mine here. I was going to share tonight when Gino was on, because I had to defend not only my photos, but I had to defend Cleveland, because Gino kind of bashed Cleveland last week. It's really, when you bash Cleveland, the Clevelanders just gotta stand up. So I did this video just recently about Cleveland, and Cleveland was also
bashing Cleveland. It's like kicking a man when he's down, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. That's another side-handed pick there. I don't know. I thought we were friends, but
sorry, Cleveland. I love you, Cleveland.
Yeah, come on now. You can't deny. Travel and Leisure last week named Cleveland one of the top 50 destinations for 2015. So.
What, in the U.S.?
Yeah.
No, in the world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
in the world.
One of the top 50 states in the United States.
Top 50 destinations in the universe. Anyways, so I can go on and on about Cleveland, but nobody would really care, I guess.
As long as in your walking tour of Cleveland, it doesn't show you getting mugged, because that would not be the image you want to sell.
No, it's something, people have to just let that grudge go about Cleveland. It's so old.
I'll share some stuff here. So can you guys see that image? Doing a little yoga in Namibia?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, so I think tomorrow or the next day, we are going to release something pretty cool. Do you see this image from Burning Man?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to release is I'm going to release a whole set of presets for free, and so this is one of them. This one is actually called a beautiful release. So that's kind of the before and after, and I've really gotten into Lightroom presets. So I thought it'd be kind of fun just to release a bunch for free. And so these are all only done in Lightroom. And I know there's a lot of people that are really good at Lightroom around the Arcanum and are super into it. But yeah, it just does a tremendous look. Not that it's bad before. I think the before version that's about to pop up, it's all right. But I really like these looks, especially these cross-processing kind of looks. They're just so fun. I first started doing presets at Burning Man about 4 or 5 years ago, and I just kind of carried it forward. And of course, I still do HDR and I still do all the big old post-processing type stuff, but I don't know if it's because I have kids or whatever, but you just kind of learn to pick your battles over time. And sometimes it's just easier just to do a little quick job in Lightroom. Here's one actually that I shot with my friend Cole Walder. We were in this abandoned chateau in Paris.
I was going to say,
yeah,
Cole has one just like that.
Yeah, he was down in the dungeon with the model while I was up here with all these dead animals. We probably got the better end of it. But yeah, it was kind of fun just to set up this room and take a photo. And so this is one of the HDR presets that it comes with. But yeah, it's just tremendous. I mean, that's the before. This is where Cole is from, I believe, London. That's the before, which is kind of blah, blah, blah. But then the after is like so awesome. Yeah, and here's a before. This is at the mausoleum of Muhammad the Sixth in Rabat, Morocco. So this is straight out of the camera. And then, with Lightroom, you can just really amp it up to whatever degree you want to. So anyway, I hope that when people see this and get this, that it will, it'll give you some ideas in Lightroom and kind of inspire you. So you can, you can click on my presets, and then of course you can go over to the other side and then see where all the sliders were, and kind of maybe it'll give you some ideas of your own on how you can do like really weird stuff in Lightroom. There's nothing wrong with a few subtle maneuvers in Lightroom, but every now and then you might want to go extreme. Maybe this will give you some ideas for that.
Can I give an admission of guilt, Trey?
Yes.
I bought your Lightroom presets and stole all your ideas for a lot of my post-processing. So I did exactly what you just described. I bought your presets, I looked at where all the sliders were and how you'd done everything, and then I started doing the same sort of things using the techniques that I saw in your presets, and that is now a mainstay of how I process my images. So
no, I'm honored, because actually I don't even feel like it was me that came up with the presets. I might have done some weird substances at Burning Man. I might have just moved sliders all over the place. That made a lot of sense. When you do some mushrooms and you use Lightroom, anything can happen in Lightroom. And somehow
you do a ton of stuff with gradient filters, and I was looking at them going, "Why the hell has he done that?"
Yeah.
But you made me look at gradient filters in a different way, and I now use them a lot more than I did. So
yeah.
It's
no,
good.
I just thank God that I had the wherewithal to save it as a preset while in the middle of the Light's Fantastic. I don't know how I was able to be so confident.
You can tell you were taking something when you look at the names of the damn things. I've never any idea what the names mean.
No, there's that's
you can remember them.
Yeah. All right, Mason, how's it going? Give us a bath report.
Oh, it's going well. One kid in bed, the other one right here, just having her catatonic snack. So it's going pretty good. I don't know if it's a recipe you can find online, but I find that you take a 5-ounce bottle and you put about half an ounce of rum in there and then formula, and they sleep like a baby. It's just amazing.
I think that's what I'm going to do right now. When we hang up, I'm going for that.
She's doing that thing with the eyes, where the eyes go back and back, and you just see whites of the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we can just make out that there's a bottle there.
Yes. Yes.
Tip of a baby's head.
Yeah. She's actually laying on the kitchen table or the dining room table here, cradled in my arms. But it's been a long day. We're out on the coast, and I wish I was on my computer. I would show you guys. I'll have to share them at some other point. But we had a big storm come through the Northwest this weekend, and I was down on the southern Oregon coast, and we had about 30-foot seas running, and really incredible waves crashing. I posted a couple of photos on Instagram and Google+, but I haven't really processed much. All I brought with me on the trip was my iPad, but lots of fun. Got really, really, really wet, and I got to say, Martin, I'm with you. The 7D Mark II is a beast. That thing held up really well to the abuse. Real happy with it. I got soaking wet, absolutely as wet as I've ever been.
I got this baby nice and wet over at the Snow Monkeys. It seemed to hold up okay.
Yeah, I can't believe the weather sealing is incredible. So both that and the 5D Mark III got absolutely drenched and came out of it smiling. So pretty happy with the new camera. Fun weekend, but yeah, it's been a long day getting home and getting everybody settled. My wife had to work a little bit today, so I'm flying solo. So I'm sorry I didn't have more pithy comments tonight.
Oh, you were pithy enough.
No, all you guys were awesome. That was a great show. Thanks so much. Great photos. Congrats to the winner, RGW. Very well done. But it was great.
I can take that loss off of my...
No, you can't. The loss is there forever. But
well, you know what I mean.
You're now at 50-50.
I can balance it at least.
Yeah.
Trey, thanks for doing these. This is so fun.
No, it's my pleasure. I obviously get a big kick out of it too. So I'll be here next week. Gina will be back next week. After that, I'll be gone for 3 shows because I'll be away. So we're going to have Ollie Dale host those. So those will be great. In fact, I think he'll do a way better job than me, and I may just be out forever. I might just be smiling head in the corner after that. We'll see.
Never replace yourself with somebody better, Trey.
That's the key. That's the key. I've already done that with my kids. I have 3 of them. Each one of them individually is better than me. So, which is not a tall order. Okay, you guys. Thank you guys very much for joining us. Thank you to the masters. Thank you to the heroes. We'll start the after party now. But as far as the official show goes, this is the end. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays and all that jazz.
Hey, happy holidays.
Yes.
Bye.
Cheers.
Happy Festivus.
Happy Festivus and scene.